Y'all, Marlo said Kandi ain't got no time for them kids, baby. Woo! I guess we got another Marlo and Kandi beef-filled season to look forward to on this coming season of The Real Housewives of Atlanta. But Tami Roman has clocked back in. Okay, Tami Roman has clocked back in. And it's got me thinking, I got an idea for Tami. Y'all walk with me on this one. But first, we got to talk about the tea. So let's get into it. Now, our friends over at the Neighborhood Talk, they happen to catch this podcast. It's the Juicy Scoop podcast with Heather McDonald. I first heard about Heather McDonald when she was doing the Chelsea Lately show. Did you guys ever watch that late night show that Chelsea Handler had? So she was a frequent guest on that show. And so that's how I discovered Heather McDonald. And she also has a podcast, Juicy Scoop, where she interviews celebrities. She talks housewives and, other pop culture news and that sort of thing. So Marlo was on this show, likely because the cast of The Real Housewives of Atlanta was in Los Angeles, where I believe Heather McDonald is based. And they were promoting the new season. You had Kenya Moore and you had Sheree Whitfield on the talk, which we will also talk about. And then you had, obviously Marlo doing the Juicy Scoop podcast and probably some other interviews as well, because the ladies were also on Celebrity Family Feud. I don't know if the episode is aired yet, along with the ladies from the Real Housewives of Orange County, whose trailer just dropped. Now, with that being said, let's get into what Marlo had to say, because on the podcast, they were talking about, how the moms on the show, like the ladies on the show, Marlo says that she knows for a fact that a lot of these moms on the show, Real Housewives of Atlanta, barely spend any time with them kids. Okay. They got nannies and extended families. Whereas for her, it's just her. So we were reflecting back on her saying that she needed a break from her nephews that she's taking care of at this point. And she talked about how, everybody needs a break at some point in time, And so Heather McDonald brought up something that Kandi said about it being sort of unacceptable to send the boys away after taking them in, because it could create a feeling of instability or unwantedness, because they had kind of already been left their mom and then now was with Marlo and then, had to go someplace else. So it could have left them with a feeling of displacement. So Marlo so Heather brought her up. So I wanted to get that out there first, because I feel like some people may think, well, why is Kandi's name always in Marlo's mouth? However, in this instance, just to be fair, Heather did bring her up. And so Marlo says at that point, she knows that Kandi doesn't spend quality time with them kids. Okay. She's too busy trying to get another bag. She's got a whole family and a squadron of people out there, and yada yada and whoop de whoop, and how Kandi's just a provider. Okay. Basically, I feel like that provider dig was also, kind of another dig at Todd, okay, as she took last year, basically, because, traditionally they talk about how, men like to be the provider or whatever. So I just felt like she was, kind of coming after them a little bit with that whole statement. It's like an indirect shot, right? So, Heather McDonald then goes on to say, yeah, as moms on these shows, we have to be careful about judging other moms when everyone is trying to do the same thing. So you guys let me know what you think. Is Marlo in the right for saying what she is saying? Or do you guys sort of see where Kandi was coming from? Whose side are you on? So Tami Roman has stepped into the chat. Oh, Lord. Listen, Tami Roman stepped into the chatterization on the Neighborhood Talk. So she chimed in and says, it's hard out here for women with children. The responsibility to be all things superwoman usually falls on mom. Dads can be away for weeks working and nobody bats an eye, but when moms do it, trying to provide, it falls under major scrutiny. It's definitely a tug of war. So to me, I feel like, Tami is kind of team Kandi on this one, because she goes into that idea that dads can be away for weeks working and nobody bats an eye. But when moms do it, again, trying to provide, as Marlo called Kandi, she says it falls under major scrutiny. It's definitely a tug of war. But it still favors Kandi, but it's kind of still in the neutral stance. And it led me to thinking, Tami gave some really sage advice when it came to the Latasha Scott situation and the Tamika Scott situation. If you guys do not recall, okay? If you guys do not recall, she chimed in when Latasha Scott had went in on Mona Scott and also on Kandi, blaming her for all the issues. And she wrote a 9-point bulleted list of all the things that Latasha should and could be doing to make the situation for herself better, thus resulting, hopefully, in a situation where she is not looking at, sales of 678 units allegedly for herself. So I got to thinking, I said, self, would it not be a great idea to have Tami host a Real Housewives reunion, right? And so I know that B. Scott had thrown their name into the hat for Atlanta, but so it got me to thinking. I know Tami is kind of cool with some of the Atlanta ladies, specifically Kandi, because they have done the the skits together, because Kandi liked to do the skits and things. And so I felt like maybe it would be a good idea, okay, for Tami to host a Potomac reunion, because I feel like Tami would be able to get those ladies all the way together in a way that, as much as we all love Andy Cohen, as much as he probably could never do, because she's been on reality TV. She's a mom. She's got kids. She's also familiar with the colorism conversation because she kind of weighed in on certain aspects, I think, in interviews with the whole OG situation on Basketball Wives. So I kind of feel like it could be a thing for her to go and host the Potomac reunions. I think it's probably about time because, Andy is a dad with kids. He got all these umpteen jobs. And I think for the network perspective, you don't want to just have one person to rely on to do all of these reunions for ad nauseum, because what if he decides he wants to do something else? What are you going to do then? Okay. So it would just behoove them to start sprinkling in some guest hosts. That's just what I think. Let me know what you guys think of Tami's advice. Let me know what you think of her perspective. Let me know if you agree with me. Meanwhile, I hate to go back to, hey, how you doing? Yeah, I'm doing mighty fine. Okay. Because as you guys also know, Kandi, all right, Kandi is over there doing them commercials with the A.
Buddy, I am your girl Kandi, and I am here on set.
So you guys have seen her KFC commercial, all right, that she's done with her son. So this was some quality time, Marlo. This was some quality time, Marlo. There you go. There you go. There you go. Hey, how you doing? Yeah, I'm doing mighty fine. All right, so let's get into some other news. Okay, we got to talk about Martell, Kenya, and Sheree. So, as you guys may know, that I said earlier that Sheree and Kenya were over there on the talk, okay? And so our friends over at Reality Chat happened to post a clip, all right? And in this clip, Sheree is talking about Martell because they kind of bring it up a little bit. And, Kenya basically says that the reason she and Martell get into it is because he shaded her, which, to be honest with you, I can believe, okay? Because, Martell gets slick with the mouth, okay? He does get slick with the mouth. But, Kenya is also slick with the mouth, all right? And she don't let nothing slide. But for Sheree, she says that Kenya picked a fight with Martell, and she says that he felt ambushed. So you have that going on. Another thing that happened in this particular segment on the talk that I found kind of odd, and you guys can watch it for yourselves. They showed this picture of Martell, in conjunction with the interview, and Sheree was like, "Ooh, that's not a good picture." Who said that about their man? Okay, or who said that about their person that they dating? I would never can you imagine your bae is on national television, right? And they talking about you. And then all of a sudden, they flash your photo up on the screen, and your bae says, "Ooh, that's not a good picture." Who says that about they person? It just boggled my mind. I felt like it was a little slip up that she did, but I was like, I ain't see nothing wrong with the photo. I mean, he just looked like a dude in a suit. You know what I'm saying? I don't feel like nothing wrong with it. I mean, granted, maybe he ain't smiling, maybe they ain't touch it up or nothing like that, but I don't feel like nothing look wrong with this photo. But that's just me. Y'all let me know how y'all feel about it down in the comment section down below. Side note, the other thing that was talked about on the talk was the fact that, they were discussing who had the most iconic catchphrases. Okay. So Kenya Moore feels like she has the most iconic catchphrases because, she says that she basically turned Bye Felicia into something that was a pop culture phenomenon because of the way she used it on national television, and people started using it after her. And I think she also mentioned, what other catchphrases does she have? I know she has Gone with the Wind, Fabulous. But I got to be honest with you. To me, I don't know. Because Sheree mentioned, "Who gonna check me, boo?" I kind of feel like "Who gonna check me, boo" is the bigger phrase and it's been around longer. But y'all let me know in the chatterization, who has the most iconic catchphrases? Would it be Miss Kenya Moore or would it be Miss Sheree Whitfield? Let us know in the chat down below. And we will, of course, catch you guys in the next video. Also, got to do my due diligence. If you haven't already done so, make sure you guys order the book, The Wickedest Wives, Desiree's Desire, on Amazon.com and Audible right now. Be sure to leave a review so I know what you like, what you don't like, and what you want to see more of, as I am finishing up book number 2, set to be released hopefully in June. All right, with that being said, I will catch you all in the next video. So I'm Richie Skye, the author and publisher of The Wickedest Wives, Desiree's Desire, which is book 1 in a series. This book is about redemption. It's the story of a disgraced journalist who has lost everything. And now she has to rebuild her life brick by brick. And what better way to do that than to join a reality TV show? Why not? Now, not only are we talking reality TV, so there's going to be scandal, there's going to be a little bit of deception, backstabbing, a little romance, and why not throw in a sprinkle of murder to really round out the excitement? So I really want you guys to dive headfirst into these books. Desiree's Desire is just the first of many to come. So I'm super excited for you guys to read this, and I want to know exactly what you think. So be sure to follow, like, share, and subscribe, and stay tuned for more.